Graphing system of inequalities is basically taking two inequalities, which are the solid or dashed lines with the shading up or down, and putting two of them on the same graph. The final solution is the area that is double shaded, the area that would be shaded by both inequalities. On your test, you'll be making this graph in EdSite, and you will have to select one of the four areas as the final solution area. So we're going to talk about that once we're done graphing this. So our first one is, I'll do this one in blue. Y is greater than negative 3x minus 1. We need to start at negative 1 on the y-axis. And we have a slope of negative 3. So from that point, down 3, right 1, and so on and so on. And I like to reverse my slope just so that it's easier for me to get a nice straight line in there. We need to decide if this needs to be a solid line or a dashed line. So take a look at the inequality. It's greater than or equal to. Because it's or equal to, that means we need a solid line. So draw a solid line in. Then we have to think about how to shade. Greater than. We want y values that are bigger than this line. The y values are bigger than this line above this line, up from this line. If you put your pencil on the y-axis on this line and draw an arrow straight up, that will show you which side we need to shade. So if you're a highlighter person, you could use a highlighter, but really just don't shade it too dark. If you're using pencil or pen or whatever, just like barely shade this side, just so that you could look at this and see which side is shaded. I'm going to use highlighter and just shade this side a little bit. Blue. Let's do green. Our next inequality is y is less than x plus 2. Start at 2 on your y-axis. Our slope is 1, so up 1, right 1. This one is a less than symbol. Should it be solid or dashed? And less than, we are going to shade down. We're going to shade the y values that are smaller. So on this one, I'm going to shade down. Where on this graph is it now double shaded? Top, left, bottom, or right? Right. So on EdSite, you will need to shade in just that one area as your final answer. So on your assignment, if you have it kind of shaded, I just want you to take a minute and shade the solution area in a little bit extra dark so that it's obvious that this is where our final solution is. So shade everything super light until you see where your final solution area is, and then shade that super dark. I won't make you actually erase the old stuff. I just want you to be very, very aware of what is the final solution and what is not. Okay, I'm going to do a quick little thing. I'm going to put a couple points on here, and I want you to tell me if these points are solutions to the system. Okay, this is a lot of points. You don't have to put them all in the exact same place. In fact, you don't even have to do this part of it if you don't want to. Just pay attention. Is A solution to the system? No. Why? It's not in the shaded area. Is B a solution? No. It's a solution for the first line, but not for the second one. So no. How about C? C is a trick question. It looks like it might be, but it is on a dashed line, and dashed lines are not included in the shading. So C is no. How about D? Yes. Obviously, it's in both. How about E? Yes, because it's on the edge, but it's on the edge on a solid line, and solid lines are included in the shading. How about F? No. So if you want to look back at this on the notes on Teams, you can see where the solutions are. Honestly, what I would do is erase those, so now our final solution area can be seen. All right, let's try another one. Do you see a problem with number 2? It doesn't look like y equals mx plus b. So the first thing we need to do is take x minus 2y is less than or equal to 4 and rearrange this equation so that it's easier to graph. We would start by subtracting x on both sides. So negative 2y is less than or equal to negative x plus 4. What would we need to do next? And what happens when we divide by negative 2? Sign switches. Negative x divided by negative 2, that would be positive 1/2 x. 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. So this is now the equation that we need to graph. Sorry, the inequality that we need to graph. Start at negative 2. Our slope is 1/2. Up 1 over 2. Should we use a solid line or a dashed line? Solid line. And we need to shade up. So this is a solid line and shade up. So I'm going to just go like this just to let myself know that's the side that it needs to be shaded on. Hopefully that doesn't screw me up too much as I'm trying to graph the other one. The other one is y is greater than or equal to 4. What does that type of line look like? Horizontal at 4. Solid horizontal or dashed horizontal?
Solid.
Solid horizontal. This one is also greater than, so we are going to shade up, which is up here. So the place that is double shaded is above this horizontal line. Now, if we extended our graph over, see how these two would meet, and then there would be a section where it wasn't shaded and it was just shaded above the slanted line. On EdSite, you would just shade this. Think of these graphs as like you are making a rough draft. Your final draft goes in EdSite, and you only select the final solution area. So you will have a paper copy of the test to work on. You can do your rough draft on the paper and then put it into EdSite and click your final solution area as your shaded area. Try number 3 on your own. Pause the video. Give it a try. Be brave. Actually pause the video. I know you haven't paused it yet. Pause the video. Pause the video. Pause the video. How many times do I have to say pause the video before the people watching this will actually pause the video? Do you think they've paused the video yet? I don't think they have. Pause the video. Try it. One is Vux. That's a vertical line at 1, and it is a solid. And when it's vertical, you can't think of greater than as up. You have to remember that X values are bigger to the right. So this one would be shaded to the right. The second one is a horizontal line at 0, which is kind of weird because you're retracing the x-axis. And it's greater than, so we're looking at up. So right now the solution area is this top right portion, and it gets kind of messy, especially if you don't have like a colored pencil or a pencil to shade lightly, so mine starts looking really messy. The next one, we had to rewrite this equation. Thankfully, there was no switching the sign. I'm starting at 4 on the y-axis, and then a slope of -4, right 3, down 4, right 3. This one needs to be a dashed line, which some of you maybe got into a rush, so you need to take your pencils and erase little chunks of the line. I've definitely had to do that before. And this one is shaded down. So if you really look closely, the place where these are all shaded is a little triangular space in between the slanted line above the horizontal line and to the right of the vertical line. And if I go through and do my fancy erase, you can see the final solution area is just that tiny little triangle.